Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and I have some exciting news today. The post-occupancy hoarder house sold. So yes, it is sold already. We put it on the market less than a month ago. We actually got multiple offers on it, and it is officially sold. So while this was one of the most difficult and annoying houses to own and rehab and deal with, the selling process went extremely smooth and quickly, with a few hiccups, of course, like an appraisal, but we got that done. We got it sold. Now we can move on from this property. So I want to do a recap on what we sold it for, talk about some of the challenges, show you the property too. I know a lot of people found me because of this house, and talk about whether it's smart to take on projects like this or not as well. There's a lot of things to think about. One, right, if you have a YouTube channel, social media, stuff like that, like I do or not, that could actually make a difference on if you want to take on challenges like this, because that does make a difference for me, believe it or not. So this property, if we go back here, has been an ugly property for so long. And this is not when I bought it. This is actually before the owners I bought it from, when they bought it, what it looked like. And it was not pretty. Holes everywhere. Just a pretty ugly house. And the owners did a lot of work to it. We also will talk about our post-occupancy agreement, how that's going too. And what the house ended up looking like was this when I bought it. And so this property, whoops, sorry, you don't need to hear me in stereo. I'm sure that's like Nikki's worst nightmare, my project manager hearing me more than once. But this is kind of what the house looked like before. And it was a crazy situation. So I want to talk about the situation, catch some of you up on that. We'll show you what it looks like afterwards when we're done. And talk about, like I said, the post-occupancy, how that worked, and some things to watch out for as a homeowner or an investor when buying properties, because a lot of things can go wrong when buying a property like this. Some things went wrong, obviously, and I expect that. When I buy something like this, you kind of expect things to go wrong in the worst case scenario, but some people might not realize all the different things that can go wrong. So I bought this house from a wholesaler, and I want to talk about that too, because a lot of people don't understand what a wholesaler does. A wholesaler basically tries to find really good deals on properties that are or aren't for sale. Sometimes they're on the MLS, which is a multiple listing service where you can, agents list houses. Sometimes there are good deals there. We buy houses from the MLS still all the time. I've actually seen a few houses from wholesalers on the MLS lately that were decent deals, and people are getting a lot more discounts on properties now, kind of like we used to back before COVID hit and everything went crazy and bonkers. So we're slowly returning to kind of a more normal market, not quite there yet. But wholesalers also get deals from driving for dollars, which is just driving around looking for ugly properties. This one was ugly, but really not crazy ugly on the outside. There's much more uglier ones. And then sometimes they'll send postcards out. They'll have Facebook pages. Some people even knock on doors, cold call people trying to find deals on houses. And once this wholesaler finds a deal, they try to negotiate a price. And then they find investors like me who's going to fix up the house, flip it, sell it. And they will assign the contract to me, which means they have this contract with the seller. They'll sign it over to me. I become the new buyer, and maybe there's a $5,000, $10,000 fee that the wholesaler gets. Sometimes it's more than that for assigning it. Or there's a double close where the wholesaler will actually buy the property on one day. The same day they will sell it to me as the end buyer. And in that case, they don't have to bring any money. They're using the money I bring to buy the property. So that's kind of what wholesalers do. A lot of wholesaler classes are taught out there about how to get rich quick and make a ton of money. It's a lot of work. It's not easy to be a wholesaler. There's probably 9 wholesalers trying to make it for every one that actually does. So remember, it's not an easy business. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. But I do buy quite a few properties from wholesalers all the time. I got this from a wholesaler I bought a few other properties from as well. And so when I saw the property, it pretty much looked like this, but way more stuff everywhere. And so I saw the property with the wholesaler, walked through it with the owner of the property as well. And like I said, there was stuff everywhere, more stuff than here, because this is after our post-occupancy agreement, which I'll talk about here in a second. And I walk through the property, see the property, sometimes Nikki's with me, sometimes she's not. I don't think she is with me on this one. That's probably why I ended up buying it. If she was there, she probably would have told me, no, I'm quitting if you buy this property. But sometimes I don't listen very well. After I see the property, then I say I want it, I don't want it. Sometimes we can negotiate price, sometimes we can't. I saw it. For some reason, I decided to buy it. I usually submit a $5,000 or $10,000 earnest money and then become the new buyer. We close on the property. So this one, after I'd talked about price and different things, kind of agreed to one. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a post-occupancy agreement. I'm like, of course there is. So when I walked through this property, I talked to the seller and he had stuff everywhere in the backyard. We'll show you the backyard. It had 1/10 the stuff in it does now, or back then. But he's like, I don't want any of this stuff. You can have it. I just want to move out. I just want to be done with this. I don't need any of it. You get it. So I'm like, okay. So I was factoring that into my figures. Well, then this post-occupancy agreement showed up. And a post-occupancy agreement is when the seller will sell the property, close on it, me being the buyer, I am the new buyer, but they get to stay there for a set period of time. So these can be common with homeowners who are maybe trying to buy another house, build a house, something like that, and they want to stay in the house a little longer. Now, I'm a licensed real estate agent, a licensed broker. If I'm representing clients, I almost never do that. But if I were, I'd always tell my clients to be so careful with post-occupancy agreements if they're buying the property, because we often see things go wrong with them. I've had at least 3 or 4 other instances where I was buying flips. We had post-occupancy agreements and something went wrong. The seller wouldn't move, usually is what happens. And we've had to actually go through evictions to get them out of the property. I'll try to link to some of those videos below. If I don't, remind me, and then I'll probably still forget. Remind me again, then eventually I'll get those links on there. But you can always just search Invest for More for eviction or post-occupancy agreement, and a lot of those will show up. So what happens is with this, there was $5,000 held back, and the wholesaler makes the deal. They write the contract, they make the deal with the seller. I just kind of have to agree or not agree to buy the property based on that contract. And that contract said, I think they had 15 days to move. After 15 days, I would be owed $250 from that $5,000 every day they didn't move. And a lot of you saw this saga on YouTube and Facebook and all this stuff. After 15 days, he did not move. I showed up, I talked to him multiple times, and even though he said before he didn't want any of the stuff and it was all going to be left with the house, he was taking trailer loads of stuff off the property. And every day I saw him, he'd be like, hey, there's more stuff here than I thought. I'm doing another trailer load. I'll be gone tomorrow. And this happened for days and days and days and days. And eventually, I got to the point, I'm like, hey, you're almost out of money. You're past the post-occupancy agreement. We're going to start filing for an eviction if you're not out. He's like, don't worry, I'll be out the next day. A few days later, still wasn't out. Then finally, we drove by, and the trailers were gone, and the vehicles were gone. And actually, I can show you that. Hold on. Here we go. I have these videos that I literally did a video every day on TikTok and Facebook and stuff. Not as many on YouTube because I wasn't doing shorts as much then, of me driving by the property and seeing if he's there or not. And these videos did fantastic. That's why I was saying part of whether you buy these crazy properties or not is if you have a social media following or YouTube you can make money on, because if you can, sometimes they're worth it. Not always. But that's what the house looked like when he is supposed to be gone. And then there were various amounts of vehicles in the street and road, and just tons and tons of stuff being parked and not parked. But it's hard to see if any stuff was actually being moved or not. So every day he said he would be gone the next day. Finally, after it was like 10, 13 days, I forget exactly what it was. Let's see if did we have any more videos? All the vehicles were gone except for like an A-Team van. And this A-Team van I had seen there before. I'm just trying to see. I don't think I show anymore in this one. Nope. I showed it there before. Okay, so I decided to just go through my TikTok account. And this happened almost a year ago. So much crazy stuff happened last year. My office got broken into, which is one of the videos I was going to show you here. And they didn't steal a whole lot of stuff, but they did a bunch of damage. Eventually, those guys got caught, and I think they're still in jail. I need to follow up on that, but that's the guy who broke in wearing a wig, and our security cameras caught it. So that was crazy. And then, let's see here. Hopefully, can I just scroll up here and get to where I want to go? Yeah, there's a guy breaking. Oh, here we go. Here's one of the post-occupancy hoarder house videos. driving over to see if they'd gone yet. And so this happened for at least 15 days after they were supposed to be there. And I kind of had all this on video, which was fantastic. And like I said, eventually there were less cars there. Oh, that might be the same video we just saw before, very similar to it. And then let's see here. We'll go through to some of the next videos. Oh, that was an office break-in. The crazy neighbor lady who just came by. I post a lot of videos, in case you're wondering. That's the Ocho. We had evictions and squatters that same time at the Ocho. Very crazy time period. That was my first rental property I ever bought. Oh, here we go. Now we'll see if they're out again. I think is that the Supra? That looks like the Supra. But this happened for so long, and eventually the guy finally moved out. But yep, see, varying amounts of cars every time we showed up. And there was an A-Team van. After that's the only one left over. And I walked up to the door, knocked on the door. A different guy answered the door, not the guy who had lived there. And I said, "Hey, what's up? Are you guys done? Or you moved out?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm just picking up a few things for the previous owner. He wanted me to come by here, pick up some stuff. I'll be out tomorrow." Of course. And that happened for 2 days. Finally, after like the third day, I show up. There's no vans, there's no cars, there's nothing there. And I was texting the seller trying to get a hold of him. He wasn't responding to text or anything. And so finally he responded like a day later and said, "Oh, I'm out. I'm all done. I moved out a week ago." I'm like, "No, I was there yesterday or 2 days ago and there's a van there." He's like, "I don't know who that van was. Wasn't associated with me at all." Even though I'd seen that van there with all his vehicles there before and I have it on video, that's what he was claiming. And so because of that, we got oh yeah, someone dropped off a stolen trucking camper in my other property. We had to call the cops. So much crazy stuff happening last year. And so because of that, he was trying to claim he'd moved out like 4 or 5 days earlier. He owed me $1,000 less than he owed me. And I'm like, no way. I'm not going to, there's more trailers. I'm not going to agree to that after all this you put me through and different stuff. And I mean, I didn't tell him I made probably thousands of dollars from social media and stuff because of these, but it was still pretty annoying how he handled it. So we still, to this day, have not come to an agreement on that $5,000 who gets it. The tile company still holds it. I'm sure they're super annoyed at me and him because they don't want it, but we won't agree. And I was wondering, the A-Team van's not there yet, if it might like hold up title a little bit. I didn't mention anything, but we closed and it didn't. So that must be completely outside of that side of it. It's not holding a cloud on title to the property or anything like that. So, it is escrow, it's money, so it shouldn't have anything to do with that property. It's outside of the property and transaction, but we have not figured it out yet. So that's one part of this. I still want to see the A-Team van. Where is it at? It was a pretty sweet van, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, I documented every day after. He tried to claim it was way less than that. And then I showed him videos of the van with next to his cars, and he's like, oh yeah, I guess I knew that guy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So he wasn't a very nice person is one reason why. Oh yeah, see, even more stuff. No A-Team van yet though. That's just kind of like one reason why I want to be a stickler and not, just agree to it. Is if he was cool and nice and working at it, if he's willing to work with me, that might be something different. When you're not, then I'm not very willing to work with people either. So we'll see here if the A-Team van is back yet. Come on, A-Team van. Nope, not yet. Like I said, so many different cars. And I'm pretty sure, or maybe not, I couldn't remember if they had two vehicles exactly the same with new plates on them. And I thought they'd gone and just bought two cars right away with the money they got from the house. But then someone mentioned they might be older tags. I can't remember, but that was interesting too, to see two vehicles almost exactly the same. So, all right, here we go. Like I said, this is one reason why you want to be careful with post-occupancy agreements, because the sellers can stay. They might lose some money. I've seen post-occupancy agreements where people don't have any money held back in escrow. That's very dangerous as well. We're actually doing another one like that right now where we do have money held back, but we're doing a post-occupancy agreement. As a real estate investor, I'm willing to take that risks. I know what can happen. I have contingencies. I know how to go through evictions if I have to, even though it's a last case resort. Regular buyers, new investors, might not be able to go through all that and figure it out as easily. So that's why there's the A-Team van right there. And there's the guy with all their vehicles, literally talking to them. But later the seller claimed he didn't know who that guy was. It was somebody else. So we got possession of the house, finally. Still arguing about that. It took us months and months and months to clean up the house because there's so much stuff in the backyard. We'll show you that here soon. We got that done, but then it took us a long time because we wanted to use our really good contractors on this property, because we have some really good contractors who are doing awesome, some other ones who are okay, doing all right, and we knew they would be able to go faster. We knew we wanted them on this project, so it was a big one. That's me going to talk to them for the 14th time. So we waited a few months while they finished up a triplex, some other stuff we were, wanting to do. So it took some time, some months to really get going on this one. So it took a long time, but we finally got through that. We finally listed it for sale. We had someone break in a couple times too. I don't know if it was friends of this guy or whatever. We were able to secure the property. That stopped. We put up cameras, of course. As soon as we put the cameras, the break-ins stopped happening. And so we've been through a lot with this property. It's been an interesting story. Like I said, it helped out my social media and stuff, but not everybody has that. Not everybody's want to do that. So that's when the guy was there just with the van, and the guy had claimed everybody else was gone and he didn't know who that van was. Okay, we'll stop showing these videos now. Okay, here we are back to the house, what it looked like when we finally got it. So, things to remember if you're a real estate investor. If you're buying from a wholesaler, always be careful with post-occupancy agreements. Always be careful with the fees and different stuff they charge you. Always remember, if you're getting a contract assigned to you, that you are becoming the new buyer and you are agreeing to whatever's in that contract. So make sure you read that contract carefully. If that contract has illegal stuff in it, stuff that shouldn't be in there, per real estate commission, especially if you're a real estate agent, you abide by a higher level of ethics like me, make sure you know what's in that contract. You're not agreeing to something that you shouldn't do. Just because someone else wrote it doesn't mean you're not responsible once you take over that contract. Make sure you're very careful buying from wholesalers. We bought from bigger wholesalers too. New Western is one of them that charged us so many fees and was just absolutely horrible to work with. Others are okay, but be very, very careful. So we went through, repaired the property, got it fixed up. I want to show you what it looks like outside. I know I've been talking for a very long time. Here we go. This is what it looked like outside when I first saw it. And please realize, this is after he'd cleaned up probably 80% of the stuff that was in the backyard. It was absolutely insane how many things he had back here. And it took such a long time and so much money to clean this up as well. And so I haven't added up all the fees or costs. I don't even know if I want to on this one, because that's the thing, is when you deal with a property like this, it has so much stuff, so many issues going on, so many problems. Once I buy it, I'm financing these properties. I'm paying interest on my loans. I'm paying property taxes. I'm paying insurance. All those costs keep going while you own the property. So if you have these year-long flips, it can really eat into your profit, really take a chunk of out of what you make. So I bought this property for $247,000, ended up selling it for $390,000, which might seem like, whole lot of room there. But when you're doing massive repairs on a property and, you've got all this time that you got into it and different things and expenses, it eats into that profit very quickly. So, sweet tanning bed. We did not keep that. Oh no, that's a printer. That's a crazy printer. That's what it was. Some people thought they're worth a ton. They're worth nothing pretty much. Those get out of date so quickly. So eventually, like I said, we were able to fix the house, fix it up, and here's kind of what it looked like. Sorry, I have to fast forward to my spot where it's remodeled and nice again. There we go. It's all done. So we went through, replaced the kitchen, doors, flooring, obviously. Had to do some electrical work, some plumbing work. Redid the bathroom. The roof was actually okay. We didn't have to do the roof, but we replaced some siding, painted everything on the outside, replaced all the windows, I believe, replaced the furnace, water heater, AC, we added, it didn't have AC. You can still see it wasn't all the way perfect when we sold it. And that's another lesson for flippers too, is you can go through a property and spend months trying to make it perfect and get every little thing right. You don't always have to do that. A lot of buyers are happy with something when it's 90% done, not done, but 90% perfect. And remember that. That's a lesson we've learned over and over again. A lot of times that last 10% to make something perfect simply isn't worth it. You won't get your money back out of it. And buyers are still okay with it. If buyers are buying new houses, there's still flaws in new houses. There's so many flaws in owner-occupant houses they're buying. So realize it's okay to have things that aren't absolutely dead on perfect. So, like I said, we did clean it, and make sure that the cleaner forgot to clean that room. That was our laundry room. There's another room in the basement. Here's the upstairs after we put in the new kitchen and took out some weird wall stuff and took out the fish tank, of course, that was built into the wall. And this is what the house looks like. So when we sold it, we put it up on the market. We got 2 offers within 2 days. We listed it for $389,000, and we got 1 offer for full price with like $8,000 in concessions and closing costs because they wanted to buy it on the rate because interest rates are really high right now. So we got that. Then we got a second offer. So we told both parties, hey, we've got multiple offers. We'll review them on Monday. Let us know if you want to raise it. The first offer raised theirs to like $398 with like $8,000 in closing costs, so pretty much full price. The other one was very low. It's like $375. So obviously we took that second one, and that second one had no inspection either, which was crazy, right? So we were able to get that under contract, and then all we had to worry about was the appraisal. And of course, the appraisal came back low. So that happens sometimes with houses too, where an appraisal is there for the lender to confirm value, make sure it's worth what they're paying. And the appraisal came in at $390. And so it wasn't crazy low, but it was a little bit low, and they still needed their concessions. So we ended up lowering the price to $390. And they did lower their concessions a little bit, so the buyer helped out a little bit. So we made less money than we would have. But I looked at the appraisal. When we get a low appraisal, I always look at it, see if there's any errors, anything they did wrong. I didn't see anything. The comps they used were decent. It was simply a case of where the comps didn't support our higher price. And in that case, it's really hard to make an appraisal go up. We have been successful in getting appraisals up before in the past, but usually there's an error or they're using weird comps. In this case, I'm just like, oh, there's not much I can do. We'll just accept the lower price. We'll move on from this house and maybe do it again or not. We'll see how all that goes. So that is the story of the post-occupancy hoarder house. Like I said, we still have that money in escrow. That hasn't been settled yet. We did sell the property. It went fairly quickly, fairly smooth. They wanted to close early after we got the appraisal thing settled, so the house closed today. It is off the books, and I'm sure Nikki is very happy. She will probably not be happy with me if I do another one like this. But like I said, the pros and cons of this: it takes a lot of time, a lot of money. You almost never make as much money as you think on these big, long projects. But for me, I gained so many followers on TikTok and YouTube and different things because of this house. It was probably worth it. Now, would I do it again? I don't know. There's other ways to get followers and do stuff. But we also took a house that was horrible, made it nice, and were able to help out the neighborhood. So there's that thought process too with this property. So there you go. I just clicked on the next flip. I just saw that we have, this is our country property, right? Yes. We'll have an update on this one very soon too. It is almost done. It is so close to being done, and we did make some pretty big changes on this one. So stay tuned. We'll have an update on this one soon. I don't know if it'll be before Christmas or after Christmas, but it is almost done. It's a bigger house on a few acres, neat property. So we'll have that coming up here soon. Of course, we'll have updates on the Ocho, our multifamily, commercial, the laundromats, all that stuff too. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I hope everyone has a happy holiday season, and we'll be back soon.